After what seemed like a trek through one-third of a very large continent, we finally arrive at our final destination, the one place where we gather anew before going our separate ways, the one place nearest and dearest to my heart, Lourdes.
On Sunday morning, August 7th, we bid farewell to our hotel on Rue Claire, got in some taxis, and there was a short ride just to the train station at Montparnasse. The treat was taking the train from Montparnasse to Lourdes, and it was a TGV train. So TGV is Très Grande Vitesse, so very high speed, and it was a very comfortable train. It attained at one point around maybe in excess of 340 kilometers per hour, which would be over 200 miles per hour. So it moved very quickly through the landscape, very pretty, easy time for chatting about what things had happened for us in Paris. We arrived at Lourdes, and Florian led us, all pulling our bags, to the very nice Hotel Eliseo, which is right down by the sanctuary. We had to be attentive because I had a 5 o'clock Mass in St. Anne's Chapel, and this is one that Florian made sure was transmitted back to the United States. And before beginning, let me welcome those who are online with us. This Mass is for Vicky Salgado's mother. Her maiden name is Ana Gloria Guzman, and she died about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. She was here in Lourdes with us 5 years ago on a trip that we did 6 years ago. That's right, because of COVID. For the 45th anniversary, my 45th anniversary, and she was here along with Vicky. So Vicky and her mom were both here at that time. And that was a wonderful experience for all of us. So I'm happy to offer this Mass for the repose of her soul. There are other people in the Salgado and Guzman families who are looking in. Later that night, we participated in the traditional candlelight Rosary procession. So it begins at 9 o'clock and ends around 10 o'clock. That Sunday night, there were many, and they're called in French sick people, malades, M-A-L-A-D-E-S for plural. It's very moving. They were at the head of the procession. And then we all filed afterwards, and we all have our candles. And at the end of each decade of the Rosary, you sing an Ave, Ave Maria, and everyone raises up the candles in tribute to the Blessed Mother. And then we go all around the grounds in the sanctuary and then weave as we get closer to the front of it where the beautiful basilica is. And then say the Hail Holy Queen and a couple of prayers and announcements afterwards. Very impressive, but especially because the malades were in that. Oftentimes they're in a procession that takes place in the afternoon, but they were in the evening procession that time, which was wonderful. Their helpers would pull them in their wagons or push them in some sort of a wheelchair. On the second day of our visit to Lourdes, early in the morning, relatively early so it would be cooler, we did the Stations of the Cross. They're magnificent. Outside, you have to go up a hill, and you essentially are ascending Calvary, just as Jesus had to go up the hill to Calvary. The statues look as if they're all bronze statues, but they're in metal, and they're coated with a paint that makes them look bronze, but they're very noble statues. and imposing. So we did the Stations of the Cross together, going up, and the crucifixion is truly at the top of the hill, and then you wind down the hill for the taking down of the cross and the burial. Due to COVID, there are no longer the baths at Lourdes. The water is there. Anyone can get as much water as they want. And there's an area where you can wash yourself, your face and hands in the Lord's water. So we all did that. And as is also the case, all of us purchased candles, larger candles, that we then put in the areas across from the grotto. Right across the river from the grotto are places where you can have your candles, and usually they're given in memory, they're lit in memory of different people we want to pray for, relatives and friends of ours back in the United States. And we all did that individually. Of course, people purchased many things, right? There are no shops inside the sanctuary. That's all very a holy place, and you feel that very much with the different activities there. But outside, there are many shops, and people, of course, in our group, bought many things, and they were constantly asking me to bless them. And we agreed that we would have a blessing of them back at the hotel when most people had finished their purchases, so we didn't have to do multiple blessings. So we designated one evening for the blessings. Everyone brought them down. I had the Lord's water and holy water. I blessed all of those objects, all of the images, the rosaries, any other statues or things that people had purchased. Then we also did something else, again in the hotel, accompanied by food and drink in the evening. We spent some time reflecting on the trip and what were the parts of the trip that we found most illuminating for us or moving. And we went through the whole group, each one of them saying what particular aspects of the trip were important for them. And that was interesting for us to see and hear, especially from others. And then the following morning, I was leaving to go back to the United States. So we had to have one mass. I had one last mass, and it was at 6 a.m. in the morning, and it was down in the crypt. And then I left along with Mary Lou and went off to Charles de Gaulle Airport. Louis' sisters went back to the Philippines, and Ansel, Florian, Fidel went to Spain for another week. So that was the end of the trip, at least for me.
People don't come to Lourdes to savor the cuisine, drink fine wine, or marvel at architecture. There is no Colosseum, no resplendent gardens, no art through the ages. There is, however, the story of a young girl named Bernadette, and the countless miracles performed and lives transformed by virtue of what she witnessed. People come to Lourdes to pray. We came to Lourdes to pray and to contemplate upon how we could best take up the mantle of being devout disciples of Christ. I have visited Lourdes 16 times in the last 17 years. All these trips are special, but the last 4 have turned out to be the most profound. We grew. Having an increasing number of friends and family members join us in our Blessed Mother's embrace at this very special place. Father Piderit was with us these last 4 visits. He celebrated Mass for us daily, and his homilies always left us with an even greater understanding of God's omnipresence. Few gifts will ever compare. Which takes me back to the very beginning. This trip of quite a few weeks, after all, was planned and undertaken in celebration of the golden anniversary of Father Piderit's ordination. We therefore thank you, Father Piderit, for the countless lives you have touched since you were ordained 51 years ago. We thank you for the generosity of your spirit, for your wonderful sense of humor, and for showing us through your own life's journey what it means to be a true disciple of Christ.